Well, we definitely just got some very interesting information from a Miss Candace Owens, who came out recently and just said this.
People that catch my attention are people who are telling verifiable lies. Erica thus far has not told any verifiable lies. People have been upset with me for not going down the rabbit hole on my show about Erica's parents. I just literally haven't come across anything with Erica in my investigation.
As a lot of people argue, we're living in a psyop within a psyop within an MK Ultra mind control matrix. As of course, now, a day after Candace Owens declared she will reveal information that will change everything, has it actually changed? As Sean Ryan actually came out and did a very interesting interview with Charlie Kirk's former head of security that gave a breakdown on foreign countries, foreign involvement potentially here. His take was interesting, as Candace Owens now went on about the Egyptians, which a lot of people say correlates with some of the innuendo questions that Sean Ryan was asking about, specifically when it comes to potentially some of the security guards having ties to, quote, the Mossad. As now, it looks like there's a hunt for rental cars. What's going on here? As people are saying, look, they're spotted here. I'm like, wait, what are we looking at? As yesterday, Candace Owens declared this is going to, quote, change everything. It's no exaggeration. And I don't know if it has. We'll get into it. As you know, we talk about this topic very honestly. We call it like we see it. And we definitely do not try to fluffer or sensationalize or to lie to people about exactly where I am coming from, what I exactly think, no matter what the consequences is. Of course, there's a lot of people that are just doing and saying a lot of stuff just to get clicks, and they don't really mean it. We don't do that here. And if you appreciate that, subscribe, click the notification button. We greatly appreciate all the time that you spend with us here on this independent media platform. As now, Sean Ryan came out and just posted, after hearing Charlie Kirk's head of security break it all down, what do you think of the conspiracy crowd is cooking up next? As Ian Carroll decided to respond to this by saying, bro, why the F would we trust his head of security? Well, I think it's important to do these interviews personally, and I think it's important to get everyone's comments on the record here. Now, whether or not you believe him or not, it's your own thing. I found the parts of the interview that I saw online. I didn't see the full thing for full transparency's sake here. Very compelling. As he says, quote, we watched them give no wound care to an arterial shot and then move Charlie without addressing the arterial bleed or C-spine. They are on camera, refusing to, quote, help from the paramedics on scene and also refusing a trauma bag from them. The security team should be fired and never hired in any protective capacity ever again, or at least. Now, the security team was actually Charlie Kirk's private security team, private security company that he owned and operated and controlled. Maj Toure says, not sure I'd trust what his head of security says. Now, his head of security detailed the situation where he says he tried to cover up the wound here. Again, it was a very fast-acting situation. There's a lot of people who, like to kind of critique, like, oh, no, this could have been done better this way. According to the security, they tried to plug up the leak, and they couldn't. The security guard describes how he saw doll eyes on Charlie as soon as the incident happened. And it does kind of correlate with what we've been seeing from the doctor that kind of came out and has been speaking through TPUSA that said, even if this shot was happening here at the hospital room in the ER, there was, quote, no saving Charlie from that type of blast, that type of shot, that type of attack that, of course, he got after. Now, I thought it was very interesting to see Sean Ryan ask about potential foreign intelligence here. His framing of the question and the answers were pretty interesting. Here's one of them.
I've seen a lot of Charlie's friends, people that are in the media, come out and say Charlie had very specific concerns about Israel, and that his opinions were changing about Israel, and that he had expressed concerns about this to various media personalities. My question is the man that owns the company that's in charge of his security detail, and you are the head guy on his security detail, were there any concerns about that or any other organization, political party, for?
Yeah, well, according to Andrew Koval, he did give all the information to the FBI, and including the text messages that Candace later released that he confirmed, highlighting a lot of external pressure, and what later Tucker Carlson described as Charlie kind of being tormented by the donors that were really not happy with him. And Charlie was saying, yeah, I'm just going to do more things that are going to not make you happy. And this was an issue of concern for Andrew Koval. Now, the response was interesting, as the head of security says that he hasn't seen anything that was correlated to that with kind of the attacks that were made. As he says, quote, "We track probabilities, not fantasies." Now, it is pretty clear here, the security didn't do a good job, but then the security guard had an answer to that. And then he went on and says that they have never received a credible threat tied to, quote, Mossad or any kind of foreign entity. Now, before playing the other clip of Sean Ryan asking about Mossad ties of some of the security guards there, which I thought also was interesting, we wanted to tell you about wearechange.shop. Just really quickly, we just launched our vitamin D with K2 and extra virgin olive oil. Why? Because you need fat when you take vitamin D. It is fat soluble. You do not want to be taking it without K2 either. And a lot of people make a lot of mistakes when it comes to vitamin D. You also should have magnesium. That's why we created the Sun Force Bundle, which is our magnesium glycinate. And this is the 1-2 punch that I think is absolutely essential. I was just on Instagram and they showed me this. We have 5,000 IEUs. This is highlighting a study talking about how supplementation with 2,000 IUs of a day of vitamin 3, quote, slowed biological aging by 3.5 to 4.7 years. As that's pretty interesting, as of course there are studies showing how it slows the biological aging and preserving the length of telomeres. You see Ian Crossland talk about the telomeres all the time, as of course when the telomeres become too short, cells stop dividing, leading to a lot of illnesses and people who no longer are here with us, especially age-related kind of sicknesses and diseases. So vitamin D to me is key. If you have good vitamin D levels, make sure you maintain those as best as you possibly can. This is one of the clearest, best ways to make sure your vitamin D levels are good. Check it out, wearechange.shop. Support us, support this independent media network, and support your own individual health journey. Now, I thought it was also interesting with Sean Ryan pressing the security guard about whether or not his agents were, quote, agents of the Mossad.
I have to ask it. Of course. Do any of your guys have any ties to any foreign intelligence agencies, more specifically Mossad?
No. And I've seen that and heard that. And, I've been in 39 countries in this world, and I've never been to Israel.
He then kind of goes on. He's saying that all the security guards are in each other's business, and he could say with 100% certainty that he knows a lot of these people, knows their family, and that he didn't see or understand any type of kind of Mossad connections. Now comes Candace Owens. As of course, there was another part here talking about how Charlie Kirk's shooter found, quote, a vantage point that you can't just stumble into. And yeah, it seemed like a lot of people are saying, oh yeah, it was just one guy. It was just, and I'm like, I mean, even Charlie Kirk's security guard saying this wasn't blind luck that happened here. Of course, he had the perfect vantage point as he talked about how this was the tiny loophole that would normally require rehearsal, not a sprint and shoot, highlighting how there might have been some type of planning, which there probably was. I think personally there was more than one person involved here. And he says this is, not something that just happens for a person that runs to exact spot and just fires instantly, especially under duress, especially from an old rifle from all the way back in the 1930s. As again, a lot of people are like, I have questions about this. Now, the person with the most amount of questions is, of course, Candace Owens, as she is now talking about how Egypt could have played a better role here. As, of course, other people are saying, well, Israel works with Egypt and they have covert operations together. And again, is there any, smoking gun proof here? As, of course, it is kind of weird that Kash Patel is fighting with Tulsi Gabbard, as Tulsi Gabbard wants to investigate the foreign ties. Kash Patel's like, no, but some people are saying, oh, no, that's just normal interagency fighting. I'm saying, listen, if there ever was a point in time for Kash to let it go and allow all the investigations to happen, it is now, for me personally. That's how I see it. As, of course, I don't care who's stepping on whose toes. Get the job done. Get the information out there. This is not the time for ego, as there are alleged screaming matches between Tulsi Gabbard's staff, Kash Patel, and Kash Patel stopping and preventing their kind of foreign investigations into this, which is just like, can we all please get along? Well, this is the new information that Candace Owens talked about that's going to change everything, and here it is.
That she had done an additional 15 hours of research and was able to discern that the person the planes were actually tracking for years was Erica. Not Charlie, but Erica was the one being tracked by these planes. And indeed, it turned
these, quote, alleged Egyptian planes
out that she was correct. She discovered that between 2022 and September of 2025, both of those aircrafts, SU-BTT, the yellow plane, and SU-BND, the blue plane, showed 68 overlaps with Erica's documented locations, okay? 68 overlaps. I have since been able to add now 73 times that this overlapped, okay? And 29 of those instances also happened to include Charlie. Charlie was also present. And that's what I was stumbling upon when I was looking into this. I was like, why is this plane where Charlie is? The flights were majority clustered within 5 states: Kansas, Missouri, Nebraska, Delaware, and Utah. And it's a pattern that she believes is statistically not random. I am telling you this information has been completely verified. I am showing you this on a spreadsheet now. These are all the instances in which this plane, 68 instances that this plane crossed with Erica.
What does cross mean? Like, they just kind of like missed each other, or they were flying? Are they owned by companies that have these particular routes, or people with similar type of like airports that they work out of or have relationships with, right? Or contractors that they contract with?
And I'm also going to say this includes overseas as well, okay? So my instant question becomes, why didn't Turning Point acknowledge that this plane was familiar to them? When I was taking all of these figurative online...
Well, TPUSA says that there's an open investigation, that they're complying with the FBI, that the FBI is telling them not to say anything, and now there's also a court judicial gag order, but it's pretty clear that they're handing over everything to the FBI, from what I've noticed.
Line bullets, someone could have easily said something, right? That's kind of a repeat thing in this investigation. Josh Hammer lies, I get attacked, Turning Point just stays silent. They know he's lying, but they allow the lie to flow. Alex Clark lies, I get attacked, I'm telling the truth. Turning Point knows it, but they kind of allow this like Catholic thing, lie to flow. And the influencers are allowed to lie. Nobody at Turning Point ever just steps to clarify that I'm onto something or I'm telling the truth about something. And when it comes to these Egyptian flights, the math on this is indisputable. There is less than a 0.000000001% probability, okay, under random distribution models that these Egyptian planes coincidentally landed around Erica at these times. Like I said, this plane was not just with her in America, it was also tracking her overseas as well. I flagged this because I was alarmed because I thought it was tracking Charlie. And I am telling you that this plane, in addition to Charlie, and primarily actually was tracking Erica. Now, let's get to the day of the assassination.
Now, why would they be tracking Erica? What would be the point here of Egyptians following Erica? Now, okay, sure, it's weird. But I kind of want to delve into the data, personally, a little bit more here. As then Candace released this, saying license plate of our, quote, Egyptians on the day of the assassination as follows. And she released the license plate of some cars here. She says, thank you, attention to this matter. People on the right are now accusing her of doxing here. And people are saying, breaking, this is one of the, quote, Egyptian ghost passenger rental vehicles has been spotted at UVU on the day. And then Jeremy from the courtroom responds saying, that's not UVU. It was over a mile away. Are people this dumb? He says, yes. He's saying, oh my God, a rental car was in a big city when the rental cars are for... Okay. I guess Candace is trying to get more information, and I guess people have more information. They should probably give it to her, but is this something that changes everything? I'm still trying to comprehend this, right? Right. Owen Benjamin has his own personal takes on this. And again, lots of information is regarding this. And people are saying, when are you dropping this today? Utah time, as of course she made a mistake regarding Utah time. As now people are sending out the meme of Charlie Kirk saying, go Max. And people are responding in very curious ways. Obviously, this is becoming a more divisive issue here. I mean, saying that, this is going to change everything, it's not an exaggeration, then saying, hey guys, we need more information. I would wait until you get more information, then you could say we got it. But she's saying that, again, Candace Owens is saying that an Egyptian plane tracked Erica Kirk 73 times between 2022 and 2025. Now, again, some people have rental companies. They ran out the same kind of company. Were both of these planes from the same rental company, right? Because if they were, that would explain some of the contracts and some of the people or some of the airports that they were flying in and out of. Is there like an airport expert here that could explain this kind of coincidence here? But why would it be in the interest of an assassination team to be following Erica? I don't know. I don't know. Now, does this change everything? No. Let's look into this. Sure. Let's investigate this. Sure. Now, Candace is also reporting that there's also allegedly $8.6 million missing in missing funds from TPSA, from some of their tax filings. Now again, she also talked about multiple license plate were rented out to these quote Egyptian contractors in Pervo. She's asking people for more footage of the vehicles, and people are asking to pass on it. Sure. Okay. Okay. So far we got, according to the quartering, 1 mile away. Do we have them on campus? Are they on campus? So far, we don't know. Now, listen, no matter how ridiculous, I think every lead is worth following. But I think we're going through a little bit more of too much salesmanship and not enough kind of like meat. Like, enough of like the sales. Give me the beef. You don't have the beef, you can say, hey guys, there's a new, we gotta start investigating this. Let's start investigating this. Don't say it changes everything. Any airport experts that could prove what's going on here? If you see that comment, let's start that conversation. Upvote it. Listen, I'm suspicious and I'm more aligned to the conspiracy aspect of it all, which I think we should be. It doesn't hurt to do that. But let's see what this kind of develops. Does it change everything? No. Thank you so much for supporting me on WeAreChange.shop. I appreciate your support and you being here with me. I want to be here with you if it wasn't for your direct support and participation in your own individual health journey. And this is why I love you guys. Stay tuned for more. All here exclusively on youtube.com/weare.